Would you go look at that? Yeah, he won't want to look. Yeah. You will look at it or did look at it? You will look at it.
I don't think he was ever told to look at it.
Well, it may have been take credit. I don't know if somebody was to look at it.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was done. Here's a couple comments.
Yes, I did. I wrote down what I have to say because, frankly, I'm not good at this. My name's Marcy Wright. For anybody who doesn't know me, I am otherwise known as the woman in question according to the Donegal Truth Post. I have been lied about. I don't appreciate it. I believe it's defamation. The post on the Donegal Truth Facebook page reads as follows. Don't believe everything you read on Donegal Township zoning information page. There were witnesses who saw the woman in question, that would be me, charge Supervisor David Healy and Supervisor Doug Teagarden. The police had to remove the woman's husband. End quote. Now this page has been promoted and endorsed through the flyer that Mr. Ines just brought up by the supervisors who had signed their names to it. Now, we can be done with this. Right now, I won't finish. I want to tell you that I was not in the wrong. We won't go into the story. If you admit right now that what you said was untrue, that what you were out of line and you were out of control. Okay, I didn't think so. On Wednesday evening, I gave you your opportunity, sir. It's mine. I believe I have the floor. Thank you.
I don't know that it's even in order.
On Wednesday evening, after the meeting, this incident took place. I need to rewind just slightly. Bear with me, everyone, please. Like I said, this really isn't my thing. At a meeting in July, I pleaded with the supervisors to stop the process as it is written of zoning because it affects our legacy in farming. It affects the legacy that we leave behind for our children. After the meeting, I went up to Mr. Ely, I shook his hand, and I told him that I consider him a friend and I don't understand why he's doing what he's doing. He said, not verbatim, but this is what he said. While still holding on to my hand, he told me that I needed to trust him and that he hadn't made up his mind about zoning yet. He also said that he wanted to see the process through. Now fast forward to last Wednesday's meeting. During this meeting, the supervisor voted to violate a court order to try to push through zoning. That's my opinion. After that, I decided that I should be ashamed of myself for believing in Mr. Ely and trusting in him. After the meeting, I walked up to Mr. Ely, not speaking any louder than I am now. As a matter of fact, a lot of people didn't hear what I said. And I said that I'm ashamed that I thought so much of him. I looked across the room, and Supervisor Teagarden was upset because there was people over here in the door. That's my assumption. And he yelled, and he said, "Turn off the lights." And I looked at him, from probably me to Mrs. Ines, and said, "You're on a power trip." That's what I said. That's all I said. With that, he jumped in my face, pointing his finger, yelling. I said very loudly, "Don't get in my face," or something to that effect, because honestly, I was so taken back by his anger and aggression that I don't remember the exact words I used. My husband came over to get Mr. Teagarden away from me, as any honorable man would do, and my husband yelled at Mr. Teagarden not to wag his finger in my wife's face. That's what he said, "Don't wag your finger in my wife's face." And Mr. Teagarden said, "How about I wag my finger in your face then?" People heard that. I don't believe that in any way that is the actions of a man who's just been charged. At this point, I'd like to take a minute to thank my husband for being there for me. Thank you, Dave. I've reflected on this incident and I wonder how it would have ended had Mr. Teagarden and I been one-on-one. Didn't sleep much that night. Desperate men take desperate measures, and I believe to cover his actions, someone chose to spin the story about what happened. That is the truth, the absolute truth. And with all that being said, Mr. Prescott, I don't believe in my heart that you condone this behavior, and I hope you don't continue silence on this matter. Mr. Ely, I want you to know that I am ashamed of thinking so much of you, especially now that you've watched your man jump in my face, and that's all we did is watch. On the record here today, I promise you, with my whole heart, that I will never, ever stand by and watch someone come at your wife or your daughters the way you watched Mr. Teagarden come at me. And lastly, Mr. Teagarden, I have to admit I do think you're on a power trip. And that is all I said to you. If I would have said something terrible and horrible to you, it would not have justified your behavior. I understand someone had to spin the story, what happened, because I feel you completely lost control. I feel you lost your temper. And like I said before, desperate men do desperate ventures. Here's the thing though, if you would have done the honorable thing, you have my number, you're my Facebook friend. You would have called, texted, messaged me, and said, I'm sorry I was out of line. I apologize. I wouldn't be standing here today. What you said in this meeting for all you nice folks. But you didn't. You chose the low road, you chose to build on your bad behavior. Tonight, I'd like to tell you I forgive you. I forgive your actions, but I will not accept them as the way that a supervisor should act. I forgive you, but I would like, as I'm standing here today, I think you should look into getting some help regarding this propensity to jump at and try to bully women. I feel like today, you put your best foot forward at this meeting. I feel like you kept your calm pretty good. Now, I was impressed with that. Until the last minute there when you tried to interrupt me when I had the floor. I'd like to see that happen. If it doesn't, I will be passing out petitions to send to the governor to have you removed from office. I will not have you hurting someone on my conscience or on my heart. Thank you.
Folks, that's one side. I'm not going to say anything more. You have multiple people.
And the only other thing I'll say, we're not even through this process yet. It has not even been voted on. So how can you sit there and say how I'm going to vote?
I never tried. You want to read my paper?
I have it for you. You don't right now. Okay? How can you sit there and say how I'm going to vote when we're not even to that point yet?
I never said how you were going to vote, sir.
You're
I said I was disappointed in you
You're disappointed.
because you chose to violate a court order to try to push through zoning. I said I was disappointed.
Did we violate court order here? No.
Well, somebody at the meeting asked you, you want to
And
just
further-
ignore what the court said, and you all sat there and said, yeah.
Excuse me, you're out of order, okay? I'm not done talking yet. And furthermore, the only thing that matters to me with this zoning is it's going to protect agriculture. I don't intend to get anything from the gas and oil, I probably never will. But there's a lot of things in here, that's what it's all about, is gas and oil. Drilling oil wells on different people's farms. And hey, go ahead. I don't, it's not going to stop you from doing it. My thing is agriculture. That's what it's all about. Whether you believe it or not, I really don't care.
Well, all I have to say is this. To the fact that you watched your man come at me like he did. In fact,
Hey, is that what happened?
a lot of witnesses. Oh my goodness,
Hey,
Tate. I am still talking. Let's do the floor thing. The fact that you watched him do that to me. The fact that you're standing there saying something about zoning and agriculture, it has nothing to do with zoning and agriculture. It has to do with the fact that you are out of line. And your behavior and your professionalism is out of line. Go ahead, say it right now on public record. Say I charged you because we will get whoever we have to do to file defamation charges because you're lying.
We did not approach you, you approached us.
I walked up to you and spoke to you.
How disappointed he was in me and all this other stuff.
What other stuff? Did anybody else hear you say other stuff?
supervisors? Is there a code of conduct or a code of ethics that they must follow?
Like attorneys have a code of ethics. I don't know of any.
Right, under the custodian supervisors, isn't there a code of conduct, a code of ethics that they have to maintain as a, governing body, elected officials? If
No,
they're-
there's not a code of ethics. I mean, there are rules in terms of how they're supposed to run meetings, how they're supposed to permit public comment.
Right, but-
That's in statute.
So I guess that maybe a flip of the code of conduct. Then
I don't know.
there's
any-
nothing that,
There's no statutory code of conduct that governs officials, like attorneys, judges, and magistrates.
right, so then their behavior becomes as they see fit, like they want to act at any point in time. Because there's nothing in writing that gives them a guideline.
They can't break the law. They can't commit crimes. And they're-
Right, okay, so that there's nothing else that
No.
states.
They don't have to have good management.
Because I'm just asking for the simple fact that, attending these meetings, I have seen behavior that, as a man on moral judgment, should not behave, getting in a woman's face, and it's just disturbing to me to see some of this behavior, just morally. Thank you.
Any other public comment?
I have something. I just would like to say, what Marcy's talking about here and being ashamed or proud of, look at the mess we've been in. It's like a circus. It's shameful. It's very sad to the point that we're actually criticizing and ridiculing people that have died that were pillars in the community. I mean, how low can we go? That is embarrassing. That our elected officials, which when we voted for you, we expected that you were going to have our best interest at heart. That's all that we've ever asked. And when you sat there, and yes, someone did say, when you said, I'm going to advertise that and it will stand as pending, in that meeting, someone said, well, what about the court order? You want to buy it? And you said, yes. You sat there and said, yes, we're advertising it. Well, if the court order said you shouldn't, and you said yes, well, then what are we supposed to think? It is embarrassing. And it's not up for grabs and everybody just has their say. It's very sad because you elected officials were supposed to be above that. The last meeting we had, the lady came up to speak and nobody would even look at her. And I do appreciate you looking because at least I feel like you're listening. Whether you are or not, I don't know, but thank you. But do you understand our point? We're not here to make a bunch of trouble. You're our elected people. You're supposed to be helping us make our community better. And it's like a battle. So that's why these statements are being made. Nobody likes this. We feel bad. But it really can't continue that when we're acting like 2-year-olds, and when someone charges you, they come up here like this and they're in your face. The only person I saw going like this and in the eye, honestly, thought you were touching her. I was that close. So don't hand me that. I saw it.
Anybody else?
Mr. Ewing, you said you were still on the fence about the zoning. I'd like to ask Mr. Prescott if he's made up his mind or if he's on the fence.
I haven't made up my mind yet, because I haven't seen the finished document.
Okay, I understand that. And I'm going to just assume that Mr. Teagarden is all for it. That being said,
Don't you put any words in my mouth, sir.
I will because if I don't, he would have been dropped by now.
If the ordinance is not proper, I will vote.
Okay, I won't put no words in your mouth. But I'm going to assume, I'm going to ask you, if all three of you are on the fence now, and you've cried that you got the silent majority, why are you so opposed to the survey? And like you said, Mr. Ewing, you are an elected official. Guess who elected you? We did. And if you're on the fence, and we know what we want, what's wrong with the survey? It'd be a done deal.
I've said from the very beginning, I won't make my mind up until we see the final product.
But okay, my question is, why are we so against the survey? If your silent majority wins, it's done. I don't care. Jump up, speak out.
You know, I didn't grow up here, and I'm sure that breaks on some people's nerves.
I can't.
I I didn't grow up here, and I moved here because we really, really loved Donegal Township and Blaisdell. And talk about people being disappointed. I have to honestly say that this last year, I'm amazed. I am amazed that an issue that could be settled. I'm amazed that people are so rude. I am amazed that
I'd like to ask what people.
when their people are rude. You know, I don't know, where I came from, if you had an issue, you were polite and you stated what you had to say. You didn't have to mince your words or whatever. But you did not talk over everyone. You did not yell and scream. You acted like you had a brain. So that, you know.
Are you insinuating that people here don't have a brain?
No, I'm just saying.
Okay, I'm just asking.
Well, I'm sorry. That was just me.
That was
That was just, excuse me. I'm just saying that in general, okay, I'm not talking about you specific, I'm just saying that I'm the same way. I frequently open my mouth and shut it, okay? And thank you for recording it, Tammy. I got it. Would you post it, please? Sure. Okay, be sure.
We need to report you later.
Okay, that's fine, that's fine. But all I'm saying is that you did elect these officials. And just because you're disagreeing doesn't mean that you're resident.
They said they did. They said they didn't care what we thought, we didn't have a say, and you didn't really address my question, was why are we so that they so against the survey? When they wanted to cut us off the way.
You know what my answer to that is because the waters have been so muddy by negative, they have been muddy, and on
That survey was asked
on
for
both sides, okay? So there's not a really good likelihood that there would ever be a good, fair survey.
See,
Why not?
good fair, though, meaning, good, I'm sorry, can I say something? Good fair,
Motion.
everybody goes.
Motion other than that.
I said,
Motion to close tonight, Gary.
You can ask the solicitor, guys.
Nobody can hear you. There's a mic.
What you say, Doug?
Hold on, guys. We're going.
20 seconds?
Can you use the mic and tell us what's going on so we can all hear, please?
Well, everyone's going to start using my
Okay. I guess.
Motion to continue the meeting to November 22nd, 6 p.m., for the purpose of paying bills and signing checks.
Any questions?
Yes. Is that only for that purpose, or is it for other business to come before you?
Meeting thing continues, that's the purpose. Sign bill.
Do something with the microphone so we can hear, please.
We couldn't hear what you guys were talking about when the discussion was going on out here. That's why I suggested you use the mic. If you're conducting business, we need to hear.
Can I have your mic? Real quick second. And I want to answer this lady's question. She asked me about the petition that was filed last week for injunctive relief, where Michael Crooney, my associate, ran over in front of, I believe it was Judge Emery. Judge Emery refused to hear the petition. She did not issue any orders. She did recommend that the parties try to work on the wording, that if there was just a sentence that could be deleted, that both sides could agree that that advertisement could go in. If the parties could not agree, she was referring the case back to Judge Fadowski, who heard the initial filing by the Freedom Group. And so, as of now, we've not heard back from the Freedom Group's attorney in Mr. Maple's office about the language. So we're assuming that if we remove that sentence, that's not acceptable. And the judge has scheduled an argument and a hearing on it. and he'll issue an order as to whether or not that advertisement can be filed.
Okay, so
So there's no court order.
Nobody won, nobody lost.
She said, I refuse to hear the case.
Okay.
Go settle it, or I'll send it to Judge Podolsky. And he called our office yesterday and said, is it resolved, or do you need a hearing? So he set the hearing.
There is a hearing.
That's what I said. There's a hearing, he set the hearing date.
I'm going to rescind my motion on the continuance. Okay, I would like to move that we continue tonight's meeting to November 22nd, 6 p.m.
Tuesday.
Any questions?
You are under then the same thing as before. This is a continuation of all these meetings we've had. It covers anything that will be brought up that night for your consideration. Correct.
Any other questions? How you voting?
I might hand up still.
Good, J.D.
I had up earlier, you couldn't see. Doug was in line. With what some of the discussion was, and I know Doug said you didn't want to discuss that letter because it's private.
We're not going to discuss that.
Okay. The heading of the letter, I feel wholeheartedly is.
Offer vote on the motion.
Why do you not want to discuss the letter you did last meeting?
Because it's outside.
There's accusations there that address me as part of a group that I'm pro gas and oil. That's great.
Nice of you to use electric system.
It's not gravel.
What if you use steel gravel?